Not Nerd Podcast, episode 256. Leave it to the professionals.
Welcome to the Not Nerd Podcast. I'm Nate Heath, and we are here to help you tech better. Here with me, as always, Mr. Dave Baylor.
Well, hello there, nature boy. How's it going?
Good. I realized that this might be a bit of a vortex in the podcast recording world. As most people know, we record early.
Well, you know what vortexes do? They suck. So it could apply to our podcast.
Not that. But yes, the time that this podcast episode will be released will be Wednesday morning, November 4th. In the wee hours of the morning, which will be the day after voting commences on the U.S. elections. So we have no idea, and we don't have any idea that we'll have any idea Wednesday morning, but there's a possibility we could know. And we thought about recording separate segments or super vague segments about who wins.
That was my idea. We would say, we have a new president. And half of the people are happy about it, and half of the people aren't. And wasn't that a great turnout that we had?
What a wild Tuesday.
And then just move on to other things, yeah.
I can't believe the one thing happened in the one swing state.
I think probably you, I, and the rest of our listeners, whether you are in the States or around the world, are probably going to be happy that it's over with and there's no more lead up into this, so we can start preparing for the future. So it's kind of like Apple events, it's like all this rumors and all these things leading up to it, and when it's finally over, it's just like I'm just kind of glad that I know what's going on.
Hopefully we will know in a speedy process of democracy, or whichever word we want to use for that. But anyways, all that to be said, the most important thing to know when you listen to this episode, hopefully Wednesday or Thursday, is that Friday morning, November 6th, is when the iPhone 12 mini and iPhone 12 Pro Max go on pre-order. And I will remind people, hopefully you all went to the website and read my review and photo comparison on the 12 Pro. Make sure if you currently have an iPhone, get the Apple Store app. Go in there. You can select your phone. You can see all the different options. You can look at pricing, carriers, capacities, everything. Now, Dave, I will be pre-ordering an iPhone 12 Pro Max 256 gigabyte graphite iPhone, and I believe you are planning on pre-ordering as well.
Yes. Right now, the current plan is to go on to the monthly Apple upgrade plan and get the iPhone 12 Pro Max Blue, Pacific Blue. And I think this time I'm just going to go with the 128 gigabyte default.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to. I think with a little bit better management of my apps and files and stuff, I don't need the 256. I like to have it. But I may regret it. I may go, oh, never again. I'm always going to get the biggest. But I've got the 256 now, and let's just through the magic of internet and editing, let's see how many gigs I have open on my current phone.
So you'll head to the Settings app, General, and iPhone Storage. And yes, on my new phone, I am at 103.3 gigabytes of 256 used. Now, on my old phone, my Pocket Cast app, where I listened to all my podcasts, I had like over 1,000 episodes downloaded. So it was like 80 or 90, or it was over 100 gigs of podcasts stored on my phone. Now it's down to about 12 gigs because I cleared out a bunch, and a bunch didn't re-download on the new phone, which is fine because I hadn't gotten to them in a long time. So there's always a new podcast to listen to.
Yes, and thank you for vamping while I was taking my time getting my results. And it looks like currently, of my 256 allowed gigabytes on my phone, I am using 87 of those.
Yeah.
So well under the 128, probably a little too close for my comfort, but I haven't been using my phone to film a lot. And that's what makes me a little bit concerned, because I hope to do a lot more videography using the iPhone 12 Pro Max. So it may fill up, but I'll just have to be diligent about moving those files off once I record them. So,
Yes,
or
yes.
use iCloud Photos optimize storage and allow Apple to confound and confuse me as it uploads the files to the cloud and deletes them off my device, and then makes me shake my fist in the air when I actually want to use them again. But that's a topic for another day.
Yes. I will say the Pacific Blue, I was able to be in the room when friend of the show, Wes, he received his 12 Pro in Pacific Blue, and it is a beautiful color. It's a very nice phone. The only reason I didn't go with that on the 12 Pro was just because I thought it might take longer, because that's obviously the new color. People want that. And mine just goes in a case anyways. But yeah, he got his, and the Pacific Blue is very nice. So, and I've got another friend. She is very excited for the 12 mini. So I will hopefully be getting a review from her on that, just to see. That looks like a great phone if you want something smaller. Man, it's a great phone packed in a little case.
I kept going back and forth on the color because I have yet to see any of these new devices in person. You've had yours, a couple weeks now, and I've not even touched an iPhone 12 in any capacity. I know it's killing me. I was looking at a YouTube video. There's a million out there of people getting them and reviewing them. And one of them was showing the gold color. It's got the nice white back, kind of like the silver iPhone 10, but instead of the frame being silver, it's gold on the outside. I'm not really a gold kind of guy, but that creamy, milky white back with the black front is something that I really like. But I don't know. Pacific Blue is probably what I'll end up getting.
Very nice.
And people probably don't care anymore, so we should probably move on to something else.
Yes, we probably should. Well, there's that interesting development that came out this week, and you found Apple's support article on it, that they have started an AirPods Pro service program for sound issues. That is a very literal name for this program.
Yeah, there's no marketing spin on that at all. Yeah, I came across this. It was new to me. I was not aware that AirPods Pro were having sound issues on some of the devices. Is this something that you were familiar with?
No, I hadn't heard. Usually with Apple, when there's an issue, you hear about it because everybody wants to be the first to complain and be loud. But it looks like there's crackling or static sounds that increase in loud environments, and that active noise cancellation not working as expected. So if you have AirPods Pro and you're having those issues, it looks like the affected units were manufactured before October 2020. So if you have them, unless you just bought them this week, you would probably fall under this. So if you have any issues, Apple will take care of you, as they usually do.
Great. That is good news and good to hear.
Yes. Google Meet starts rolling out custom backgrounds
already.
Yeah.
Yes, Google Meet is continually trying to catch up with Zoom, and I applaud them for their efforts. But come on, Google, you're one of the most richest and most powerful and technologically advanced companies in the world. Why does it take you so long to implement these features that a second-rate video streaming company has had for years? I don't get it. I don't understand what's going on.
Nope. And a lot of them have this feature, so I don't know why Google Meet was so slow to the game. The next piece of follow-up, I feel like we're mentioning them just about every week now, our friends at Wisecam, Wise, W-Y-Z-E. They have announced version 3 of their standard Wisecam. Now, the last thing we talked about was their smart thermostat, which I pre-ordered because I've been very interested in those. But they've taken their basic model that, $20 plus like $6 shipping, I think, camera, and made some improvements, especially with the night mode infrared, just the overall processor, more mounting options, more frames per second. I mean, they just took a already great product and made it better. So these, I actually pre-ordered one of these. I had not bought a Wisecam yet. I just didn't have a need for it, but I figured, man, this really looks good. Maybe it's time to set up a little security camera somewhere.
Yeah. And also the casing has been weatherproofed. And so you can use it outside in a reasonable area. I mean, you can't dunk it underwater or anything like that. It should be more robust if you have it outside hanging under your porch or under an eave or something like that. You don't have to get a special case to put on it to protect it from the elements. So overall, it's a very good improvement to the current model. And I was going to pre-order this, but I cheaped out because I was like, hey, there's free shipping on orders $49 or more. And I'm like, well, I'm going to get 2 of them and I'll get free shipping. And they said, free shipping not available on pre-order devices. Oh. And so I'm like, well, I'll just wait then, I guess.
Yeah.
Save $10. So anyway, I will probably end up at least getting one of these. I may pre-order just one and pay the shipping and be done with it because I don't really need another camera, but I can tell you that this camera would probably work better out back where my current camera is kind of exposed to the elements.
Yeah.
This one would probably do it much better. And there's no light back there at night. And so even with the infrared, it's very difficult to see. And so the improved night image sensor is something that would really work well for me. So,
nice.
So thumbs up to Wisecam and their new update.
Yes. And Facebook has joined in on the cloud gaming service bandwagon. Google has theirs. Amazon has theirs. I mean, there's many of these options, and I almost feel like they only announced it so that they can also jump on the bandwagon of we're going to have this everywhere except for on iOS because Apple's App Store guidelines don't let us do this. And yeah.
Oh boy. Well, and also in the streaming game, kind of somewhat related, is this past week, Nintendo Switch owners were able to download a couple games that are cloud versions of the games. And so this works in much the same way where you download a wrapper type application and then all the content from the game is streamed via online. So even the Nintendo Switch is kind of getting into this cloud computing game.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see where all this goes and if iOS or if Apple decides to change their policies. You know, many of the companies are looking at workaround. Microsoft has one. Fortnite, obviously, we've talked about a lot. But just the way iOS App Store, they want their 30% cut. Just the way these gaming services are set up doesn't line up with Apple's policies. So we'll see who's the first to give on this so that they can be on iOS.
I mean, you could kind of understand it, though. I mean, Apple has seen the writing on the wall. As soon as they give the thumbs up for this, then any application, game or otherwise, could say, download the Microsoft application portal and live stream Microsoft Word and Excel and all these things to the Apple device. Meanwhile, Apple is doing everything, doing all the heavy lifting, and everything, all the content on someone's phone could come in through the back door of one of these portal apps, and then Apple gets no cut. And so I understand it seems petty, but when you look at the big picture, it could cut Apple out of the entire revenue stream, and then we have no app store if that happens.
Yes. And I controlled myself and did not even link to Apple's quarterly results. We're getting all the quarterly results, and they did have a very good quarter. I think iPhone sales were a bit down, but Mac sales were up, and their services and wearables. So it was a slow quarter for phones, but we've got new phones this quarter, so that I think they're going to make it. They still, if I remember correctly, it was like $12 billion in profit they made this last quarter. So
I'm pretty sure they're going to make it. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, they're doing okay. But that quarter, the stock market stuff, we talk about it sometimes. But yeah, we want to help you tech better, and we're not the ones to help you invest better.
That is right. Leave that to the professionals.
Yes, but what we always leave to the professional, Dave's Pro Tip of the Week.
That's right. Now, this is a tip that I think people don't know about and would use if they knew about it. Isn't that all pro tips, I guess?
Yes, that's the goal.
That's the goal. And this is not like an exclusive iPhone tip, which we kind of get into these like reachability last week. It's like, well, you have to have an iOS device and specifically an iPhone to use these things. This is more of a universal tip, but it also does work on iOS devices, on Macs, on PCs. Heck, it probably works on Linux too, but I don't have any Linux box sitting around to test it on. And the topic of today is YouTube keyboard shortcuts. Now, I know all of us go to YouTube. We go there to watch tutorials. We go there to watch short form content. Heck, our friend over at RIP VHS uploads full feature length movies sometimes from the stuff that he finds in the bins. So the content is all over the place. And we also find ourselves, I think, clicking around, like, where's the little play button? Oh, I clicked the play button, but it advanced my thing because I clicked the bar and it hides itself and then it shows back up. And it's this confusing mess. And one thing that computers do better than anything is offer the ability to use your fingers and a keyboard to do things. You're not having to touch things. You're not having to make mistakes. And so my challenge to you is to learn a few of the keyboard shortcuts that go with YouTube. And here are a couple just basic ones. If you're on your computer or you're on your iOS device that has an attached Bluetooth keyboard or one of the Apple's keyboards, or heck, even if you're on a Microsoft Surface tablet and you have the keyboard attached, all of these tips will work in these scenarios. So you're sitting on the screen, you've clicked the video. If you're like me, you have autoplay turned off. You have HTML5 video blocker autoplay, like all this stuff. I don't like stuff to autoplay, so
yes,
I have to click the play button. And to do that, I merely hit my space bar. Space bar will play and pause the video. It's very basic. It's very simple. Now, if you want to get a little more advanced, you can pretend, just like a professional video editor, that the J, K, and L keys on your keyboard are your kind of jog dial settings. So K is in the middle. So if you press K, it will start the video. If you press K, it will stop the video. And if you press the L, which is to the right, it'll skip forward 10 seconds. And if you hit the J button, which is to the left of the K button, we'll go back 10 seconds. And so we've got play pause in the middle, back 10 seconds on the left, forward 10 seconds on the right. You can just kind of rest your hand there. If you're going through like a tutorial video or something, it's like 10 seconds, 10 seconds, 10 seconds, pause. What was that thing he showed on screen? Okay. Unpause, 10 seconds, skip. Oh, go back 10 seconds. So it's your own little kind of virtual video editor controls right there on your keyboard. Now, maybe you've done this by using the mouse on the little scroll bar. Don't do that. That is the worst. So then let's say you're watching something you don't really care that much about and your spouse comes in the room and starts talking to you. It happens to me all the time. And I'm just like, can you not see I'm engrossed in this wonderful tutorial on how to build an artisan house from the 19th century or whatever? And so M is your friend in this instance. It will mute the audio. You can leave the video playing, just click M to mute. You're not hunting around with a mouse trying to wake up the screen and find the little volume switch to turn it up and down. It's that simple. Some other ones that I use all the time. Now, on most keyboards, next to the M button, you've got like your comma and period. Well, above the comma and period is the left chevron and the right chevron, or whatever you call those little arrow keys. To get them, you have to hold shift, right? Because they're a modifier key. Well, on YouTube, if you want to increase and decrease the speed, you no longer have to click on the little gear, go to the little speed button, pull down from a pull down list what you want. You just hold shift and either hit the left chevron or the right chevron to either slow down or speed up the video. Again, I use this one all the time. I don't listen to anything at 1x anymore. If I'm watching a video, I go on up to 1.5 just automatically, or sometimes up to 2x. But it works the other way too. If something's going by too quickly, you hit that left chevron button and it'll slow it down to 0.75 speed. I think that's the slowest that you can go. And there are a couple more that I use all the time. When you first go into YouTube and you're in desktop mode, it'll put the little viewer window in the left corner, and then on the right side of the screen is a bunch of other, hey, watch this garbage, click here, do this thing, to try to get you to watch more content. Well, you can also go into theater mode. it's one step below full screen. Theater mode will expand the window across the entirety of your screen, but it won't go into full screen mode. It just pushes that sidebar content to below the video. And the keyboard shortcut to do that is the letter T for theater mode. I use this one all the time too. I'll just be watching my thing and be like, it's a little too small. I've got multiple windows open, but I don't want to put it in full screen. So I just hit T. It fills up my window. I'm good to go. And then, of course, full screen mode. If you're settling in to watch some wonderful content, you're going to want to go full screen mode. And of course, you can always click the little brackety type square icon, or you can just hit F for full screen. Very basic, very easy. Now, I've linked to an article here that has a bunch of other tips and tricks for keyboard shortcuts. I won't bore you with going through them because I don't use them very often. But I will ask you, Nate, are there any other YouTube keyboard shortcuts that you use that I've not mentioned here?
Well, I do like this list. I was not aware of most of these. I knew the space bar, and then I would use just the normal left, right arrow keys for skip forward, skip back, but that only does 5 seconds.
5 seconds.
10 seconds.
Yeah. That's the big tip there. You get 5 extra skip seconds if you use the J and the L keys. So yes.
Yeah, but I'm very excited about the chevrons of increasing speed because it is a lot of clicks to speed up the video, and most of the time you can do that. So I'm excited. I'm going to try to start. I love having new keyboard shortcuts, and I spend a lot of time on YouTube. So I am going to keep this link around so that I can train myself to use these.
It's become second nature to me. If I'm watching that video and I know there's an intro that the guy's always like giving you the summary, and then I skip forward. Then maybe it's a boring part. I'll speed it up to 2x, and then when the content finally comes on, I'll slow it down to normal speed. And I can do all of that with just a few short presses on my keyboard without having to, go through gymnastics to get my mouse or my finger to play nice with the app.
Yes. Well, we've got a bonus pro tip today from Jared. He wrote into he sent a text to 608-618-NERD, and he said, "Hey, not nerds, are you familiar or aware of Backtouch for iPhone? Not sure what models it is active for, but found it here. Settings, accessibility, touch, backtap. From there, you can choose double or triple tap and have it assigned to do a task like lock screen or go back to home screen. There are a variety of options to choose from. I have mine set to home with a double tap to the back of my iPhone 12 Pro, little humble brag there at the end. I was aware of the back touch. I tried it while I was on the beta before iOS 14 was released. It is new to iOS 14. And I had double tap, I think, for screenshot or something. And I found that every time I laid my phone down, it was taking a screenshot. So hopefully they've worked some of that out. So I did go back in and turned it on for triple tap for screenshot. So I can just tap the back 3 times, it'll take a screenshot, which is sometimes easier than trying to get to both buttons just right in time, all of that stuff. But you can use any shortcut, so you can basically do anything if you go into the shortcuts and create a shortcut in there. But I would be interested. I should do some more testing now that we're on the real version of iOS to see the double tap if it's as sensitive as it seemed to be during the beta. Are you using it, Dave?
I am not. Like you, I had used it on the beta and found very quickly that it was just not, like I think I had it set to turn the flashlight on, the little LED light on the back, and people be like, "There's a light on in your pocket." I'm like, it turned on again. So I just disabled it altogether. But maybe this will inspire me to try it out again.
Yes, thank you for that reminder, Jared. Okay, on to our takes of the week. Now, and I saw many articles that started off with that people had forgotten about this app. And I know we've mentioned it. I think it came out maybe 2 years ago and they made some changes. It's the Apple Clips app. And I played around with it a little bit at the beginning, a couple times, but they just did some major updates to it. And what it is, of course, you've got your regular camera app where you can go in, take a video or a photo. It's pretty basic camera features. But with the Clips app, you can do a lot of really fun things. Think of really good Instagram stories videos where people are putting all kinds of stuff over it. You can do virtual background stuff. You can put text over videos, but they add some different formatting. It's not just for vertical video anymore, which our thoughts on that.
Mm-hmm.
But it gives you more aspect ratios that you can do and a bunch of new add-ons. You can even use, like if you're on an iPad, you can use Apple Pencil to scribble on it, scribble to text. I think that's what they call the actual service where you write with the Apple Pencil and it changes it to text. But it supports landscape orientation now, so I might be a lot more likely to use this. But I want to remind people about that app that's free and gives you a lot of fun features to be creative with your videos.
I can live with square video, but man, I just cannot get on board with vertical video. So yes, every time they make it an update, I try it out and I think it's great. And then I forget that it even exists, because let's be honest, how many of us want to just constantly send videos with like wacky animated backgrounds and little texts, bubbles and all that stuff on the front? I mean, it's fun a couple times, but the holistic cost of going in there every time and doing this. Now, if you're a social media influencer, or if you have a following of just friends and family on Facebook or something that you create a lot of content and post, I can see this working. But for the quote everyman, it's a little extra, but it is a fun toy and it's free. So you might as well give it a try.
Yes. And I think maybe before it was only square that you could do with it, but now they've added vertical, portrait, landscape, and 4:3 projects. So get in there, play around with it. Let us know. Send it in. Post it to the Not Nerd Facebook group. Show us what you create.
And there's some advanced features too, where it'll lock on to movement, and you can have stickers and dialogue boxes, and it's pretty advanced. So don't think it's just a toy for kids. You can also do some pretty fancy stuff in there if you take the time to learn it.
Yes. Well, we had another tech-related Senate committee hearing this week with Twitter, Google, and Facebook, talking about some of the censorship issues and the whole protected Section 230 legal mumbo jumbo stuff. Jack Dorsey of Twitter his beard was quite impressive on the video.
I was like, who is this guy? Is this Wolverine or somebody? What's going on?
Yes, but they went through and, of course, went back and forth with the senators, whoever was grilling them on this stuff. So I think we will continue to see modifications to a lot of the laws we have in place that kind of apply to these tech companies were created in the early days of the internet. Things have changed, and so trying to find a realistic update to how these companies are moderated and how different rules apply to them is something that we need to continue having a conversation with for the betterment of society. And related to that, Twitter launches pre-bunks to get ahead of voter misinformation. So there's been many tweets that have gotten, they put a little message on there that says, a fact check or whatever. They are now putting in just at the, you'll open up Twitter at the top of your feed, it will say, hey, look out for this misinformation that might show up on your feed. So they're getting more aggressive on, especially as we mentioned with the election and the amount of misinformation that can be quickly spread on a service like Twitter. So they're trying to get even further ahead of it instead of reacting to misinformation, telling you ahead of time, hey, you might want to keep an eye out on this story because there's a lot of different takes on what's actually happening here.
Well, it took me a second to get it, but it's the pre-bunk is the antithesis of the debunk, right? They don't have to debunk the story. They're doing it ahead of time. So at least if anything else, the naming is very clever.
Yes.
And I do like a clever comment.
Yes. We like cleverness. Microsoft, this one, hopefully none of our listeners are still using Internet Explorer. I did have an employee at one of my clients that was laptop is a little bit older and was just having issues with the internet and getting to some websites, and come to find out they were using Internet Explorer. Now, one of the services they used for the business had for a long time recommended that you use Internet Explorer. But Microsoft now is going to they're going to pre-bunk people away from Internet Explorer. So when you go to click a link, and they're starting off with like top sites, Yahoo and the bigger sites, it'll actually open up in Microsoft Edge, or I'm guessing your default browser, instead of Internet Explorer. So they are really trying to get Internet Explorer to go away. Please use Chrome, Brave, Firefox. Edge is even built on Chrome now. It's gotten a lot better. Anything besides Internet Explorer.
It is interesting that Microsoft developed a whole new browser to distance themselves from Internet Explorer. Did it just have such a bad rap that they were trying to just set it aside? Like, what was it seems like a lot of people love it and they continue to use it still.
Yeah, I think the technology that Internet Explorer is built on, there are still services, equipment, stuff that needs to utilize Internet Explorer, but they really wanted to come out with something new with Edge, a future-looking browser, which that didn't work out great. So then they decided that they would build it on Google's Chromium, which Chrome's based on, and Brave and a million other browsers. So they just wanted to move people away from it, but Windows, I mean, even in Windows 10 still, you have your old control panel, left over from Windows 7. So Microsoft really gets stuck in this tough position of having to support these older technologies while desperately trying to move people forward into the 21st century.
Hopefully they've learned their lesson a little bit with that whole antitrust stuff back in the 90s of don't embed technologies into your operating systems that should be actually more modular, because it causes problems in the future when you try to decouple yourself. And that's kind of where we're at with Internet Explorer. Like you mentioned, it feels like there's a bunch of older technologies that still rely on Internet Explorer. So they can't just say, it's done, it's deprecated, we're turning it off, we're deleting it from everyone's computers, because they've integrated it so tightly into their operating system. So hopefully it's given them pause. And this Edge browser is a great example. It's not built on Windows, it's built on Chrome. And so if they just want to get rid of it one day, they just say, we're switching to a different engine, and it's not going to affect Windows users in the future because it's merely a program. It's not something that's integrated into their operating system.
Yes. And even on Windows 7, I know this is stuff people are dying to hear.
Yeah. You guys are like, what's the next topic, please?
Yes. Skip. What was that command to skip for?
Shift command.
Yes. Windows 7, there was internet options for the entire operating system that were only accessible through Internet Explorer. So some of the special internet options. So you had to have it there. But yes, again, if you're on Windows 7 still, it's time to go to Windows 10 or just go to Apple. And if you're using Internet Explorer, it's time to stop unless you absolutely have to.
Yeah, go buy an iMac, run Mac OS, and then just install Windows 10 on Boot Camp. And then when you need to use it, use it. But I mean, come on, people.
Come on, man. Security and privacy stories of the week. This first one was just kind of an interesting take. We've talked a lot about these security researchers and these bounty programs and the people. And, even I am guilty of having a persona in my head of the, guy in his mom's basement with a 2-liter of Mountain Dew and some Cheetos typing away furiously on his computer trying to, figure out these vulnerabilities and so forth.
Well, let's be honest. If you weren't married and had a small child, then that's probably what you would be doing. Am I right?
That's true. So this article from Wired, they did a profile on Maddie Stone, who is Google's bug hunting baddie. To keep our show family friendly, the Project Zero reverse engineer shuts down some of the world's most dangerous exploits, along with antiquated hacker stereotypes. So, as you can guess, she is a female. She's into weightlifting, outdoors, all this stuff. But she's one of the leaders in finding Android flaws and correcting them within their Project Zero team. So just a fun little read. And it's not just all the the typical super nerds. There's a lot of people that are really into technology, and it's cool to see all kinds of people being represented. And sounds like she's one of the leaders on, especially on the Android team at Google. So very cool little profile.
And from her photo, she appears to be very young. Did you say how old she is?
I did not, but yes, I would assume, and I don't know if that was in the article or not, but
I'm going to go on out on a limb and say she's probably late 20s, early 30s, but
yeah.
probably late 20s, mid to late 20s. Wow. Good for her. Good
Yeah.
for her.
Yep, very cool. Thank you, Maddie Stone, for the work you are doing. And then this kind of stuff that she's trying to stop. Almost 2,000 Robinhood Markets accounts hacked.
Uh-oh.
We've
I got
talked
one
about
of those.
Yeah, Robinhood is a a free stock purchasing or management app, and they had a breach. It looked, as I was reading through the article, it looked like on some of them, people accessed people's email addresses and then got a hold of the account. So it could be something where it wasn't necessarily Robinhood, but weak email security. But they, didn't have mandatory two-factor, which when you're dealing with your finances, please use two-factor authentication.
Mm-hmm.
But you should get a notification, Dave, if you were one of the ones. And they said almost 2,000. And hopefully it's not one of those things where they say almost 2,000, but really 200,000.
Yeah, they have to have millions of account users.
Yeah,
and so
I think it said
2,000
15 million, somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 million accounts.
So it's a drop in the bucket. And I just did open up my app. Now, interestingly enough, there's not as much money in there as I want, but there's still the same amount of money as there was before. So,
yes.
Yeah,
maybe you can see if they can up that amount for you.
If someone could hack my account and put more money in there, like, go for it. You can have my credentials.
Please do. Our bonus odd take of the week. We had our comedy wildlife photography contest, but Dave, this one is directly for you. The winners of the 2020 Drone Photos Awards.
Yes, before the show, I saw this in the notes and I had to check it out. But as you well know, I am a connoisseur of drones and love to look at things from a different point of view, so to speak.
Yeah.
And so drone photography just gives you the perspective of being a bird or in an airplane or in a tree or whatever. These perspectives of these photos is incredible. Most of them are top down, but not all of them. In the wildlife category, you see what appears to be some storks in their nests at the top of a tree, just a straight on photo. But there's no way you could ever take that with a ground-based camera. You need to be either in a very tall ladder or maybe on a cliff with a super long lens or something. It's the technical ability of drones to capture images that are not possible in any other way that gets me so excited. So I couldn't put this down. I just kept looking through every category and looking at all the pictures. So it's a great find.
Yeah, really, really cool stuff. I highly recommend you get into the show notes and click that link.
Mm-hmm.
I also highly recommend you listen to our Picks of the Week.
So, Nate, I've done it again. I keep waffling. This has been a multi-year, multi-decade journey that I've been on to find the perfect note management, task management, time management solution. And I can never find anything. And I swear one of these days I'm going to go to the bullet journal and the notebook where it's just a piece of paper and pencil and nothing else. But I'm scared that I'll lose my notebook, or just like everything else, I'll lose interest after about a week. And I'll be like, why did I buy all these pencils? But the point is I don't like wasting my time and my stuff. So, and I'm a big fan of digital. So task management in the digital world, I've gone from Todoist. I've gone from Google Keep, which was a pick a mere couple months ago, many online solutions using your calendar, using whatever. And I flirt around with these different products. Another famous one that we've discussed a lot is Evernote. We go back and forth with loving and hating Evernote. And if they would just add a couple features, they would be perfect, but they don't. And who knows? And so I've circled back around by listening to a few podcasts and trying a few things out and looking at different tools. And I've decided to, and this is brand new, a couple days ago, I just decided to circle back around to OneNote. This is a Microsoft product. It used to be a for-pay product back in the day, but it's been free for years. And here's what I like about OneNote. It's designed in a way, and I think it was originally designed for like students, where it's like a notebook that you would take to a class that has, you can set up different categories, you can set up different notebooks, you can put kind of folders within the notebooks, and you can put notes within those folders, and you can color code things, you can link back to things. It's a really powerful tool for organizing things digitally that kind of mimic the world in an analog fashion. So it's not unlike Evernote in that sense of organization, but it offers various different features that Evernote can't touch. Not to mention, it's free. And once you get to some advanced features in Evernote, you have to start paying for stuff.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, pretty much everything in OneNote is unlocked. I'm sure there's a paid tier somewhere if you're a business or enterprise user. But for the regular people out there who just want a good note-taking app, it's available, of course, for Windows machines. You can get it for Macintosh operating system. There are Android apps. There's an iOS app. You can use it in the web browser. So virtually any device you have, as long as it's connected to the internet and has a web browser, can take advantage of OneNote. And Google Keep. So why did I abandon Google Keep so quickly? And I'm not fully abandoning it. I'm just trying out other things.
Yes.
I'm the meme with the guy with the girl walking by, looking back. And then the girlfriend's like, what the heck? So I'm not fully committed to this, but I was trying to do something as simple as make a bulleted list in Google Keep. And I don't know why Google makes it so hard. You can kind of do like a dash and then a space, then type something and hit return, and it'll put another dash on the other line. But there's no indent function. So if you want to do subtasks, you have to use a bunch of spaces. And I'm just like, it's 2020, Google.
Yes.
This is built into every other tool that you create. Why is it not in Google Keep? I just don't understand. And so, of course, OneNote, it's right there. There's a button for it. You can do an ordered list. You can do an unordered list. You can do tabs. You can do indentions. I'm just like, this is something I use all the time. So it might be time to switch to something else. But I could go on and on about the features and functionality of OneNote, but I just challenge you to try it out yourself. It's free. You can download it, see if you like it. I would say it's somewhere in the neighborhood of Evernote meets Google Keep, meets your reminders task list, kind of all rolled up into one. So if you're a student, I recommend this. If you are a business owner, I recommend this. Or if you're just a regular employee who has to take meeting notes or create task lists, you're going to find a use for it.
Very nice. Yes, it is an endless battle to find the right solution. Well, my pick of the week this week, we've talked about the similar product many times, the Aki little folding. Well, I've got kind of two picks this week. Mm-hmm. The one that we have raved about for a long time is the Aki 2-port USB charger, the tiny one. It's like the size of, the older iPhone chargers with the little folding thing, and you could charge two devices. Well, a lot of people are realizing as we move into a world of USB-C that the lightning cable that comes with the iPhone 12s is a USB-C lightning cable. Now, USB-C has some advantages. It's faster. You don't have to get it in the right direction like USB-A does. But I have two different products. So they do have an 18-watt charger that has the little fold-up plug. So it gets really compact. It's a little bit bigger. But I think the one that I really recommend is the Aki 20-watt USB-C charger. Now, it's only one port. Mm-hmm. But this thing is tiny, and with the iPhone 12s, they say that to get the maximum fast charging, you need a 20-watt charger. Now, they sell one for about $20, but it is a lot bigger than this thing. I got this on Amazon right now for $14.99, so nice. It's $5 cheaper and a quarter the size. But if you need another USB-C charger, you got a new phone or you have a USB-C device, I cannot recommend the Aki chargers enough. And this new 20-watt one is great. Anker's got another version. There's lots of companies, but Aki usually seems to be a little cheaper. They haven't let me down in the past. So that is my pick this week.
Yes, I go back and forth between Anker and Aki for my love of products because Anker's always my standby. Sometimes their products can be a little more expensive because they are more of a premium third-party brand. And then Aki comes in with that, here's a great device for just a little bit less, or here's a great device that is not offered by Anker.
Yes. And I will just back to the new iPhones. So yes, a USB-C charger and cable will charge it faster, with the higher wattage on the chargers. Your old iPhone lightning cables with the old USB, your old, the one from 5 years ago, it'll still work. It just charges slower. So like next to my bed, I have just because it's plugged in all night. It doesn't need to fast charge overnight. So those ones work fine. They just, and a lot of people have done, speed comparisons. So it'll be much faster. But if you're not in a super rush, you can still use those old ones. They don't become unusable.
And that was my exact advice to a friend. We'll call him Chris O, who contacted me last night and said, hey, tell me what I need to buy to charge my new phone. He got an iPhone 12 Pro, I think. And I'm like, okay, I'll give you some advice, but keep in mind, your old ones still work. The port's the same. It might charge a little slower, but it's still going to charge. And honestly, I don't think it will charge slower. It'll charge at the same rate as your old phone. It's just that you can't take advantage of the faster speeds. Yes. And so it's not like it's going to slow down all of a sudden from what you're used to. It's going to charge your phone exactly like it used to charge your phone. It's just if you want the faster charge, then you need to get some of the newer products. So I'm actually going to recommend those Aki products that you just showed me, because I think what he's probably looking for is I've got this fancy USB-C to lightning cable that I want to use. What do I put on the other end? And I think the Aki 20 watt is the right answer.
Yes, that is true. And with the battery life is so good now. It's not like the olden days where everywhere you went, the first place was try to find an outlet to charge your phone and everything. It's lasting me most of the day, every day, and I use my phone a lot. Yeah. So on to our Amazon purchase of the week. We love it when you guys use our affiliate links to shop through Amazon, like to buy one of those Aki 20-watt chargers. Well, I also like to go through the anonymous reports and see what you guys are buying. And I'm guessing, looking at recent purchases, somebody maybe got a new dog or something, because one of the items was the Zippy Paws Spencer the Crinkle Monkey dog toy, squeaker, and crinkle plush toy.
You know what? That was me. I got it. I got it as a baby gift for someone, not realizing it was for a pet and not for a small child.
Yes,
no, it was not me.
I figured it was not. There was some other, some dog food and some other dog accessories. I figured maybe somebody has come across a new dog in their life. But Dave, if you get the price on this one, that'll be impressive, because you are not a dog fan and do not own a dog. But just a simple plush monkey. I don't know the importance of the crinkle factor to it, if that's something that dogs like more. My dog's so old that he doesn't even like toys, but it does have 4.5 stars on 2,600 ratings.
Now, just to be clear, it's not that I'm not a dog fan. I'm not a fan of people bringing pets everywhere. Yes. That's what my biggest thing is. I do like dogs.
Including your family to your house, having a dog of your own. But you are very gracious to watch our dog on occasion.
Oh, yes. So it is just a choice there. It's like I would prefer not to have a third child running around my house tearing up things. So this plush monkey, this is kind of cute. And I think a small child would like this toy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, it is just a toy, but it's manufactured in such a way that it can handle a dog biting it and chewing it and all that stuff. So I do not know the price of any of these things. But since it's a dog toy and people are crazy about their pets, I'm going to aim a little bit high on the price. I think this toy is... I think this is a $25 toy. I'm going to go with $25.
Well, Dave, you can get a deal. It is $6.49.
What?
Amazon Prime free same day. I have noticed. I was going to mention that I've noticed.
Oh, it's so cheap.
I don't know. It's Zippy Paws brand too. I mean, Zippy Paws quality, it says right here.
I don't even know what that means. One thing I didn't have was the context of size. How big is this?
We do not get that information. It does look like maybe it is a little smaller. So that maybe here's one with a dog, but it doesn't show you how large the dog is necessarily.
Well, let's take a look. That's a small dog. So this thing's a little bit smaller than as expected. I was thinking like the size of a child's doll that they would hold, but I think it's a little bit smaller than that. But anyway, I stand by my prices. Have you ever been to a pet store and look around and go, how do people afford to have pets?
Yes.
This stuff's expensive, So this is a good deal for whoever got this. I would say this is a great find.
Yeah, it does look like it's 11 inches in length.
Okay.
So about a foot.
From head to legs.
Yes. But I started to say, I have noticed that for a long time this year in 2020, Amazon Prime shipping was a variable factor, whereas we were used to getting everything right away. But I have noticed that there is a lot of the free same day and next day that is happening again. So they've been able to ramp back up their distribution. So if you're like, I don't want to order it on Amazon, who knows when it'll get here? It looks like they are back on track to get you stuff pretty quickly.
Well, there are various Amazon warehouses around where we live here.
Yeah.
And this morning coming home from work, I saw there were 4 Amazon vans in a convoy.
Yeah.
And then I went to the light at the end of the road there, and turning onto the road was another at least 4.
Yeah.
And so there were 8 Amazon vans coming from their warehouse. I don't know where they were going. I don't know if they were delivering stuff to another warehouse or what, but it was pretty soon it's going to be nothing but Amazon vans on the road. Supplies are going to be gone. We're going to be gone. It's just going to be Amazon vans.
Yes, there was 2 of them following each other through our neighborhood the other day. So
they didn't want to buy a bigger truck, so they're like, let's just team up.
Yeah. Well, with that, we will wrap up another wonderful episode of the podcast. Thank you for listening. Thank you for telling your friends. Thanks for your tips, your questions, all that good stuff. Now get out there and tech better. You know what? I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. You know what? Idiot. I'm an idiot.